fighting war.
5, 6, 7, 8.
America was never great.
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 Who are we?
Revolution Club.
Who are we?
Revolution Club.
Who are we?
Revolution Club.
Who's our leader?
Bob Avakian.
Who's our leader?
Bob Avakian.
Who's our leader?
Bob Avakian.
How you doing? I'm Noche Diaz with the National Get Organized for an Actual Revolution Tour. Yesterday, July 4th, 2019, right here in Washington, D.C., right in front of the White House, right as Donald Trump prepared his fascist rally with his tanks and his planes, at 5 p.m., we burned that red, white, and blue blood-soaked rag. That's right. Not once, but twice. Flames flew high right in front of the White House, and that flag burned. It burned for the children in the concentration camps at the border. It burned for the families in places like Yemen who have to pick the body parts of their children from the rubble caused by bombs dropped by that say made in the USA on them. It burned for the black and brown youth who grow up in this country with a target on their back to be gunned down by police or massively incarcerated. It burned for the women who are having their rights to control their own bodies stripped from them by courts that fly that red, white, and blue flag. It burned not just for the horrors of this country, but to imagine a world without all of this. As Bob Avakian has said, if you can conceive of a world without America and everything it stands for, you have already taken great strides to envision a whole different and far better world. And not only did we burn that flag to envision and work for that world, here, twice, we also did it at the US-Mexico border on the same day. And we did it here in the face of Donald Trump's howling, screaming fans as they assaulted and attacked and attempted to prevent this. And despite those attacks, the mighty, mighty RevComs stood their ground and those flags burned. But despite being attacked and assaulted by Trump's thugs, we were the ones who were attacked by the police and arrested. Gregory Joey Johnson, who lit the flames on yesterday, is one of the two people who were arrested. The same Gregory Joey Johnson who went to the Supreme Court in 1989 and fought to defend the right to burn the American flag, was arrested yesterday and is being charged with malicious burning and some made-up story about assaulting police officers. A story which has been shifting and changing by the hour since he was arrested. These attacks and these lies were illegitimate and unjust, and we have come here today to tell the world that not only was it right to burn the flag, but we had the right to do it. And we denounce the arrest of Gregory Joey Johnson and the other member of the Revolution Club who was arrested burning this flag, who himself is a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces, who turned away from fighting for American empire and stood with the people of the world in fighting for revolution. And we in the National Revolution Tour call for this day of flag burnings to envision a world without America, because we know we don't have to live this way, and we are on a mission to organize the forces, the thousands throughout the country, to prepare for the time where we can actually make a revolution and get to a world without America. And this Saturday, go to RevCom.us to find out about a live stream to support and learn more about and get organized as part of the national organizing tour that this revolution is on. Now I want to turn over to Carl Dix, someone else who was there with us yesterday burning that American rag, to address you now.
Sir, before you leave, can you give us your name one more time and spell it?
I'm Noche Diaz, Noche Diaz.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm Carl Dix. I'm down with the Revolutionary Communist Party, been a lifelong revolutionary fighter, I'm also a veteran of the U.S. military. Now look, let's just look at this attack that came down in front of the White House. Joey Johnson, who was right at the center of the fight for the right to burn the flag back in the 1980s, who took that case to the Supreme Court and got the decision which ruled that flag burning is exercising your First Amendment rights, free speech, gets arrested for what crime? Burning a flag in front of the White House. He gets arrested, he gets beaten, he gets charged with assault on a police officer and malicious burning. You explain to me what that one was. This tells you something about the rights this country's supposed to give us. Look, this attack was outrageous and it was illegitimate on Joey as well as on the other person who is a military veteran who was deployed in Iraq and stepped away from committing war crimes and being part of committing war crimes for this empire to stand against it, to stand with the people of the world and for revolution. Now, a lot of people will say to you, oh, you can't burn a flag, or you shouldn't at least, because you're disrespecting the veterans. Look, as a veteran, let me tell you this. I learned that they send us, in the U.S. Army and the military, they send us around the world to commit war crimes and crimes against humanity against people all over the world. That's the role of the U.S. military. I was able to find that out before they sent me to Vietnam. I learned that we were going to be fighting and killing men, women, and children. We were going to be burning people's villages. And I realized this ain't something I should be a part of. I refused to go. And they sent me to Fort Leavenworth Military Penitentiary for 2 years. Now, when I hear all these people say you should greet a veteran with thank you for your service, I got a different approach. You should ask that veteran, what was the content of your service? Were you a part of dropping bombs on defenseless women and children? Were you a part of destroying the villages and homes of people around the world? Because that's not service you should thank anybody for. If you want to thank a veteran for their service, it should be for their service to humanity, like mine was, refusing to be a part of those war crimes and crimes against humanity. And just to bring this down, this outrageous attack on Joey Johnson, when he stood up for the people of the world, when he put out the call to imagine a world without America and everything it stands for, and to fight for a world without America and everything it stands for, he needs to be thanked for his service, because this was for the people of the world, and everybody who stands against injustice should support Joey, be part of the fight to get these charges dropped. Joey and the other person should be out of jail. They should be out here on the streets continuing their work to be part of organizing the thousands into a movement for an actual revolution to get rid of the horrors that this system brings down. That's the message we're going to take into the courtroom and that we're going to spread throughout society. Because Joey didn't do anything wrong. He was standing up for humanity. And who acted wrongly were the police forces and the howling Donald Trump fans who attacked us in unsuccessful attempts to try to stop that red, white, and blue from going up in flames. And just one last thing I'll add is look for the pictures of the cops who stood by while Donald Trump's fans attacked us and tried to stop us from burning the flag, which is indeed constitutionally protected. Then watch the videos of those cops being high-fived and fist-bumped by Donald Trump's howling fans. That shows you where this system stands and underscores why it needs to be gotten rid of through revolution. Thank you.
I got a couple of questions. I'm Scott
I
Taylor.
want to take some questions from the
Scott
media.
Taylor with WJLA TV.
I'm sorry, did you repeat that?
WJLA TV.
Thank you.
Did you have a permit to burn the flag in Lafayette Park?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question, because this is one of the lies that's been repeated by the authorities and by the media that we wanted to make clear. We requested a permit for Lafayette Park in plain view of the White House. We were denied that permit and given a permit to do it somewhere else in the park, outside of view of the White House. This was an unconstitutional violation of our right to choose the site of the protest, and so we did not go with the quote-unquote designated area. At the same time, the area that we did choose is a designated free speech zone, okay, in front of the White House. We do not need, we did not need, nor did we have a permit. It is constitutionally protected. In fact, I could burn a flag right here, and it would be perfectly legal. I'm not going to do that today, okay?
But it was your choice, your group's choice to go out on 16th Street. Is that correct?
That is correct. We decided the site and location. We announced in advance that we would be doing it in front of and inside of the White House, and that is the permit we requested and were refused.
What do you say to the majority? It appears to be the majority of Americans who believe you're just flat out wrong burning an American flag.
Well, I would say, like, you know, look, the majority of Americans in the time of slavery thought it was wrong to fight to end slavery, okay? That didn't determine what history had to say about that. And go ahead and look at the eyes of the children in those concentration camps, and you tell yourself, what side of history are you on? You go and look at the people of the world who are blown to bits in places like Yemen, where families have to search through the rubble and pick up body parts and pieces of metal that say made in the U.S. because the drones that are dropped there, the bombs that are dropped there are supplied by the U.S. government, okay? The planes that drop them are fueled by the U.S. government. Go and you look at the youth that are depicted in the Central Park 5, dramatization when they see us. And think about the generations that have grown up criminalized, degraded, dehumanized, massively incarcerated, and then, yes, murdered and gunned down in the streets by police all over this country, and decide which part of history are you gonna be on. Because we made the message yesterday that our choices are not what they tell us, that we have to choose between Republicans and who are now fascists, and Democrats who wrap themselves in the same flag of atrocity. We have a different choice, which is to make our revolution to put an end to the system that does all of this to people here and around the world. And we're not taking a poll to see how many people agree with us. We're starting from reality.
Ford Fischer from News to Share. What is your message to the Proud Boys and the other Trump supporters who did confront you yesterday, if they were watching this right now?
Nice try, but those flags burned. And I know some of them were trying to claim that they were able to stop one. And we saw the videos. I was there in person and saw it. It's true, one of you got away with a fistful of ashes and some charred fabric. You can have and do whatever you'd like with that.
And also, what is your response to the added charge of assaulting a police officer?
This is a bogus charge. It's outrageous. It's also one of the stories that's been shifting by the hour since it was announced. The initial claim that was reported was that one of the officers was attacked by the burning of the flag. Then they changed their statement, said they were hurt in the process of making the arrest. I don't know what they're claiming now, and I don't really have that much comment on it because they haven't figured out what story they're telling yet. And I could try to preempt everything that they might make up and every story they might tell, but I think the lawyers and the defendants should actually, be able to carry out their defense.
You say that
Let me just add one point to this. Assault on a police officer is the charge they almost always add on people that they're brutalizing when they arrest. And that's what happened yesterday, and it is as illegitimate as the rest of their legal charges on Joey.
You mentioned a couple of times during the press conference you have thousands and thousands of supporters across the nation. You're trying to gather them all together and support what you're trying to do. Then, with all due respect, why is there only 11 people here at this press conference?
So for clarification, I said we're on a national organizing tour to bring forward the thousands of people into an organized force. We have supporters, and there needs to be lots more supporters, but we do have supporters, but that's not the point. This tour is on a mission to build organization, okay? Because there needs to be people who are organized to prepare for this revolution and to lead millions as soon as possible time to be able to overthrow this system and really make and get to a world without America. So we're not just going for supporters, we're actually going for organization. And this national tour put out a call for flag burnings on July 4th. And Joey Johnson responded to that call by calling for some people to join him in D.C. for July 4th to burn the flag at the White House. as Donald Trump was doing his speech, and that's exactly what we did. At the same time, other people in revolution clubs in the other part of the country were at the U.S.-Mexico border burning also 2 American flags over there, and then there were other people who were burning flags at home or in different places and in different parts of the country, which I've begun to see bits of reporting on, but I don't know all the full extent of.
My name's Jacob Benson with WAMU. Can I ask you, so you were at the burning yesterday. Can I just ask you a bit, like, what exactly happened? Was there any sort of confrontation with police or physical activity with police that would back up this assault on the officer charge?
Okay, I'll get to that assault on an officer charge in a minute. Noche and I both were a part of the crew that carried this out. We marched in uniform, these shirts, chanting 1, 2, 3, 4, slavery, genocide, and war, 5, 6, 7, 8, America was never great. We set up and created a perimeter within which Joey could burn the flag because we didn't want anybody to get in the way and get hurt by accident or anything. And as soon as we set up, some of the howling fans of Donald Trump began to try to break into our perimeter. And I had to repel 1 or 2 of them myself. Joey burned the first flag, a couple of us got knocked over, we reformed. Joey burned the second flag. The confrontation with the police did not occur in relation to the flag. I saw no confrontation with the police. There was one with a fire extinguisher who sprayed it and put out one of the flags, but it was too late, it was already burned. Then we formed up to march away from the scene, having done what we came to do. And as we marched away, a couple of Secret Service men were running the other way. And I'm told they asked who burned the flag and tackled Joey and the other guy who was also a veteran. And the next thing I saw, they had them both on the ground, brutalizing them, cuffing them, and then taking them away. And that's what I saw in terms of
The 2 locations of the flags was the same location, sir?
same location. We burned
16th
it.
Street?
No, it was on Pennsylvania Avenue, right in front of the White House. And we burned 1 flag in that location.
But not in the park, correct?
We burned it in that location, in the free speech area, I might add, which it might surprise you, but it's an area where you're supposed to be able to exercise your First Amendment rights, and you don't have to ask the government, may I exercise my First Amendment rights here in this free speech zone? That might be the thing that some people are getting confused on. They may feel like the First Amendment is something that you can only exercise after you begged and pleaded with the government to do so. That don't strike me as the case.
Can you just state your name and spell it?
Oh, my name is Carl Dix, C-A-R-L-D-I-X.
Is there any other questions?
I'm sorry, just the other individual person who was arrested.
Yes, there was one other individual who was part of the flag burning who was arrested. We're not having his name available at this point. And there was a third person that's being reported was arrested who was not with us. And my understanding is what's been reported is they've been released without charges. I do not know the circumstances of their arrest or their current status.
The second person was a male and he was with your group?
Yes.
And do you know anything further about the charges besides what the Secret Service said yesterday?
Besides what we've said already, we don't know anything further. They are being held in this building, which we assume to indicate that they are city charges as opposed to federal charges. But we are not getting very much cooperation from the Secret Service, who held them in custody last night. We had to hear a lot of this from media individuals who reached out to their press department, and they've not been very cooperative. And then the only last thing I'll say is about a month ago, Joey Johnson won a settlement in Cleveland because in 2016, basically the same thing happened. We had announced and he had exercised his right to burn an American flag at the Republican National Convention. He and a About 15 other people were arrested in the process of doing that. All the charges were dropped because they were also illegitimate and they were similar. And then he sued the city of Cleveland for violating his constitutional rights. I don't know what the course of action will be in this case. We're demanding right now that they release Joey Johnson and the other member of the Revolution Club, that they drop these outrageous, illegitimate charges, and we invite other people to support. Go to RevCom.us to find ways to support further. We're demanding that they do not put bail on either one of them. We do not know what they're going to do yet. They're supposed to be arraigned today.
Quick question.
Yes.
You have points of attention in the Revolution Club that you were adhering to yesterday.
Yes.
Do you want to speak to what one of those is? I think it's point of attention number 6.
Yeah, we have 6 points of attention in the Revolution Club that guide the conduct, the goals, and the methods of all the people involved in the Revolution Club. Okay, these points of attention include not acting for self, but acting for humanity, for revolution and communism. They include men, women, and differently gendered people being treated as equals and comrades. It includes fighting for a world without borders, where people of all nationalities, languages, and cultures are respected. And it also includes that because we're serious about preparing for an actual revolution, we do not initiate any acts of violence, and we oppose all violence amongst the people and against the people. I would add to that yesterday, in addition to the general stance of not initiating any acts of violence, our primary purpose of being there yesterday was to burn the American flag. It is what we were there to do, and it's what we did. And in the face of tremendous assault by rabid thugs, all of the people involved in this maintained their dignity, their composure, their discipline, and they made sure that the flag burned and that we all got in there and began to exit in a very disciplined, organized, and orderly fashion. That is until we were attacked, first by the Trump thugs and then by the Secret Service and other police agents. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Huh? What? Oh, we have a longtime supporter of Gregory Joey Johnson, Paul.
Right.
I don't know your last name.
M-A-G-N-O.
M-A-G-A-N-O, who would like to share a message.
Thank you. My name is Paul Magno, and I'm a supporter of the Plowshares movement, an anti-nuclear group, 3 of whom are presently in prison waiting trial in Kings Bay, Georgia. They've been there for 16 months, and their co-defendants are waiting as well. In this society, we have a 400-year history of having established European colonies that made a choice to take 10 million people from Africa into slavery here in the second hemisphere, what they called the New World at the time, and did that in order to take away the land of indigenous people and extend European empires and build them into the New World. We're 400 years on from that endeavor, 400 or 500 years, past 500 years from the discovery and 400 years to the project in earnest. And we've come to a place where we have a completely pathological society crowned by a pathological president. We continue to insist on hoisting our idols up for worship before people. They could be dollars, they could be flags, they could be genocidal nuclear weapons. And on the right side of history, on God's side of history even, we have to stand against those things and challenge them and challenge the mystique they weave over most of our people that enthralls them and captures them and keeps them from being free people who can build their own society and build a just society. Joey Johnson has been taking issue with the flag with a match since the 1980s, and back then, before the birth of my daughter, he was doing that, and he was ultimately vindicated at the level of the Supreme Court. And I suppose this Supreme Court might think twice about reversing itself, but we have a right to say what's wrong with our country. and what's wrong with our world, and to fight for what should be right for our world. Joey's done that. Others have done that. Many of us standing here and sitting in jail and marching at the border and resisting the attacks on Yemen and resisting the silliness of and dangerousness of Donald Trump. We'll continue to do that, whether the law says we can or not, because it's absolutely the most important service we can provide to the possibility of a human future when that is on the line. Thank you.
So we're gonna go in now and check in on our comrades.
Let's do another one with fist up, everybody. Back up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slavery, genocide, and war. 5, 6, 7, 8. America was never great. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slavery, genocide, and war. 5, 6, 7, 8. America was never great. America was never great. America was never great. One more. We got it? One more?
Acquisition is called Gregory.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Slavery, genocide, and war.
5, 6, 7, 8.
America was never great.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Slavery, genocide, and war.
5, 6, 7, 8.
America was never great.
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 Imagine a world.
Imagine a world.
Imagine a world.
Imagine a world.
Without America.
Without America.
Fight for a world.
Fight for a world.
Without America.
Without America.
All right, let's go.
Vamos.
Yeah, you can warm up flag special courtesy. But you're in the shot. It doesn't matter who I work for. No, it doesn't. It does not. Then you're not a professional. You don't know what you're doing. No, you don't know what you're doing. Absolutely. 32 years.
Who's taking the poster? You taking the poster?